and welcome. As India's new labor codes take effect, we speak to senior economist and someone who has led key initiatives of PM's Skill India mission as CEO, COO, Jayant Krishna, on what really changes for workers and employers. Thank you for joining us, Jayant Krishna. First, for those wondering, look, what really does change? Who does it impact? Your thoughts.
So, Sakshi, I think first and foremost, 29 Government of India labor laws are subsumed into four codes or four categories. One are the wage related, other is industrial relations related. The next comes the social security ones, and then the occupational safety and health ones. So I think, to my mind, sectors which are impacted the most, one is the women workers, who can work 24/7, including the night shifts now, subject to their own consent. Then there'll be a whole amount of social security which has benefits which have been extended to the gig economy workers, which is the Swiggies and Zomatos of the world and Olas and Ubers of the world, and migrant labor, contractual labor. Typically, the category of labor which used to get away from labor laws, now maybe the entire set of labor laws will not apply, but the social security benefits will be flowing to these people also. And minimum wages for especially people at the lower end of the spectrum, bottom of the pyramid labor force, it used to vary from state to state, which may still vary, but the center has come out with the floor minimum wage across states, which has to be taken cognizance of. So one presumes that the compensation to the workers at the bottom of the pyramid would also improve. Annual checkup has been health checkup has been made mandatory for all those above 40 years. ESIC, which is the healthcare benefit, hospitalization benefit being mandatory for all. Gratuity will be available after 1 year now instead of 5 years, which used to be earlier. And one major thing which the companies had been asking for, there is the Industrial Disputes Act, which used to allow layoffs for employee strength of less than 100 can happen without the government approval. Now that is being raised to 300. So which has been the demand, of the industry and associations like CII and FICCI and so on and so forth. I think which is good, and the fixed term employees, who are not deployed for life, they will also get the same benefits as the regular employees. I think these are the important changes, Sakshi, to my mind, which have happened.
Right. Thank you for highlighting all those important changes, really reforms paving the way, as many economists believe, for long-term gains, as it were. Like you mentioned, expanded minimum wages, social security for gig workers, including free annual health checkups, employers looking at that as well as the gratuity time frame and the advantages that you have listed for women workers as well. But many saying, Jayant Krishna, many some are criticizing this, that look, enough consultations did not take place. Some are saying that look, this will pave way for ease of doing business going forward. Your thoughts then on the criticism emerging and the praise emerging for these landmark reforms?
See, in a country as large as this, having a workforce of anywhere between 47 crore to 52 crore people, there'll always be some criticism, and you can't consult everybody, right? But this is something which industry has been demanding. So I think it's a very good compromise between the demands of the industry and the genuine aspirations of the workforce, especially those, who are in the informal sector and unorganized sector. So I think if it is implemented in letter and spirit, I would believe that this would go towards formalization of informal workforce in our country, which is very, very huge. It's almost 93% of the entire workforce. So I think that is something good. The only criticism which is perhaps valid is that labor laws in our country are on the concurrent list, which means Government of India laws as well as state laws. And if you look at the organized sector industry and both large and MSMEs, what they feared the most are the state laws, because state labor inspectors and so on and so forth, they sometimes try to make the lives of industry people miserable, by inspections, unannounced visits, and wrong expectations. So what is not clear, and some of the states have as many as 600, 700 laws at the state level itself, and they vary from state to state. So what is not very clear right now is that the four codes which are a amalgamation of 29 laws of Government of India, how do they act vis-a-vis the state laws? would state laws be considered to be subsumed into them, or they will remain independent? To my mind, they will remain independent, and state would still reserve the right to legislate the way they want, kind of a thing. So at least on that front, Sakshi, what I feel as a second very important labor reform which Government of India must come forward is they should have a model unified state law, and which should they should roll it out all across the country. I'm sure there are different governments, but there are lots of states which are BJP and NDA ruled today. I'm sure they will embrace it, and implement it. So once the state laws are also simplified, then it will go a long way. And I'm not saying these 29 laws getting into 4 codes are not a good step. They're a very, very good step. I've been advocating for it for last 6-7 years. But I think it should also be followed by the model state laws, which Government of India must give a framework to the states to follow, and it will definitely do a lot of good in ease of doing business, getting enhanced, for India as a country.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing your crucial analysis and, of course, suggestions there, as you always have, as far as India's labor reforms are concerned. Thank you for joining us. And while the fine print is still awaited, we will continue to decode really what so far announcements, what they mean, who they could really impact, and going forward, the impact that they could have on all employers as well as workers going forward. Thank you.
Pleasure.